and I will put into the HackMD, and recording will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our second Gem Zero meetup. And we see a lot of new faces here. More people are joining as soon as I started recording. Welcome the people who just joined. So we see the new faces, and maybe somebody who haven't been on our previous call want to jump in and introduce himself, introduce the team, and introduce the progress.
Yeah, I'll start. I wasn't present last time, but Arjan and Matthijs from my team were present. My name is Emil. I'm working for Gem.Technologies. We're building Pajamas, the Python implementation, or one of the Python implementations of Gem.
Great, nice to see you, Emil.
I wasn't here last time either, but I'm part of the Gray Matter Elixir implementation. Yep.
Cool, thank you, Francisco. Is it Gray Matter? Is it Daniel? Is it your team?
No, we are another implementation called Gemixir. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, I'm losing track of all the names. Cool. Anyone else wanna present himself? Great. Then maybe, yeah. Then I guess. Oh, hey, hello. Jason.
Sorry, you can go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say my name's Jason. I'm a solution architect in Canada, and I'm building a Java Gem.
Nice.
Java implementation, obviously.
How big is your team? I don't think we saw some of your last call or on the meetups.
No, I wasn't able to join the last call. Actually, I'm solo developing. I've been working on it probably about 6 months now.
Nice. And how's it going?
It's going pretty good. So as a status, I think M1's pretty much complete. All the current vectors are passing. And that includes the RISC-V PVM vectors, in progress accumulation vectors that I think are still being worked on. And I'm probably about 70% through M2. All the networks completed. Some of the endpoints are still returning dummy data. I'm just finishing up the services for them.
That's nice. Cool. Anyone wants to maybe also share the status? I believe that might be interesting. Oh, I see Kian is going to join. Hey, Kian. Great, Emil. You wanna?
Yes, so I'll give a brief update. We're passing all the test vectors. We have networking running, and we are now going through testing and matching up with all the GemDoNet testnet test imports. We have a number of findings, and we're in the trenches to figure out whether it's on our side or on the other side. I'm pretty confident it's all on the other side, of course. It's a few findings. One thing with the fallback mode of the testnet, for example, we have a discrepancy with the order in which the validators take their turn in producing blocks. Happens in the Cepheral mode as well. We suspect it has to do with the zero hash that is implemented, and Gray Paper explicitly states a zero hash in Appendix D, while Chapter 3 states that it is a sequence of zeros and not actually a hash of a sequence of zeros. So that's a key point of attention. It's H0 You can look it up. So we're pretty confident about that. It will probably result in a gray paper. There is a gray paper discrepancy as well, and probably, well, I think we're on the good end, and the GemDuna implementation is not on the good end there. But we'll provide feedback for that as soon as possible, hopefully today. And we've run the assurances and the order accumulation imports as well. And there's a discrepancy with the determining the extrinsic hash. But we are looking into that and we'll provide feedback as soon as possible. This is really fresh. We've been working on this today, and we hope to get some feedback. So this is where we are, and we are on par with all the test vectors. We're on par with the latest gray paper, and are confident of our implementation, and looking forward to a 1.0 release and delivering our milestone. So that's our update for now. Thank you.
Nice, thank you, Emil. I mean, I actually have a question. Is there like information about when the 1.0 release of the gray paper is expected?
Yeah, I think Gavin mentioned around April this year.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we never know. Can be April. So we were planning the event in May, with supposedly the launch of Gray Paper 1.0. But yeah, it depends a lot on how much Gav can evolve the paper, given that they are implementing and changing things on the fly. So I hope we get, if not a 1.0 version, at least as he said, the 0.9 will be already stable in the sense that there won't be any new features or changes, just probably auditing and buggy stuff that they found, nothing new. So from 0.9, I would say that we are more stable. Even if right now I think we are more stable, because the 0.7 will be networking, so it's new stuff, and 0.8 will be other stuff that are not there. So I think that 0.6 is PVM, which is most things that are being upgraded right now. So the PVM are the things that are changing more. There are some other stable stuff that are not changing so much in the last versions, as long as I see. I don't know what are your impression, but yeah, I think by the end of April, we're going to have a very stable version. If not 1.0, at least something that doesn't change too much. Because I think most of our coordination issues usually comes from the fact that sometimes one team implements one formula that is already upgraded, but the other team didn't finish it. And then we are like keep trying to catch up with the last version, but there's always something that was missed from one team or from the other team. So trying to keep everybody in the same exact position for each formula is very, very hard. So that's why we find a lot of difficulties to integrate with other teams, and as while the paper is being upgraded.
But I also assume that like mostly everything we needed for milestone 1 is already inside the gray paper, right? And the networking won't be the part of the gray paper, it's the separate document. So I assume the consensus, like a grandpa, is also separate document. But then I'm wondering for the milestone 2, right? A lot of these, like the off-chain things that happens, I haven't seen, like, I'm wondering if this will be like the further versions of the gray paper above 1.0, or it's already should be, everything should be there.
I don't know. I think 1.0 will be the end version.
Okay.
Maybe there will be
Okay.
some, probably there will be, if someone finds a bug or something very critical, it will be upgraded to 1.0.1 or whatever, but I don't see that it's going to have other versions other than what is there.
Yeah,
and I think you were right saying that most of the things that are for milestone 1 are already there. Even for milestone 1, sometimes GAP decides to change how things work on the lower level, like encoding some stuff differently or hashing with other algorithms or things like that. So every now and then he changes, like the bit order is most significant, and then he changed to less significant. So there are some changes that are still impact the milestone 1, even if they are minor. And I think they will be less and less from now on.
cool. I see several hands raised, and Sarab, you was the first one.
All right. So I guess this version, we're the publisher of the Jam testnet test vectors of like real, what we think is a real valid blocks, and we've gotten a lot of feedback from at least 6 or 7 teams. Emil, we'll look forward to your feedback, and so we basically did a lot of stuff in January, and now we're able to take everybody's bug fixes and operate in a fast turnaround basis. We just got some feedback from Oliver on C3 and something else on Gamma, on Ada 2 and versus 3 prime and so forth. So we're I think in order to address the rapidly changing gray paper, but less so, I think, now in 0.6, we're going to start tagging our releases or our attempt to what we think according to some gray paper version number. I believe I think the claim is that 0.6 is relatively stable, and they're just tweaks. So when we publish our attempts to be conformant to a specific version, we'll put yet another number like 0.6.2 point something. And that, for example, if Emil gives some feedback on hash 0 or something else, we can have something that we believe is compliant to 0.6.2.1, and that would be an update off of the 0.0 that we have up there right now. So I apologize for all the sweat that anyone has on the on like finding bugs. We're doing the best we can, but we'll, if there's like 2 or 3 of them that get bunched up by like 2 people that are not related, we'll probably bunch them up and deliver it in like 48 hours rather than immediately. We're on the job, and hopefully that'll allow everyone else to also find each other's their internal issues. So I guess the way to keep the noise down on our collective element channel, I guess we'll do the debugging stuff over in this Telegram channel, so that'll be like noisy, noisy. So maybe we'll have like a lot of extra conversations, and that's fine, I hope. And then we'll just keep this Jam implementers channel for like announcements so that everybody can find it and not have to go through 17 pages to find out some recent news. And by the way, the history is really hard to get on Element. So hopefully that's useful. If you want to relay feedback on that little thing to us and collaborate with others, I would suggest using Telegram. And I think it was cool that Daniel's group started publishing fallback data, and it's hopefully other people can follow, can do something similar and publish things in similar formats, so that we can all validate each other's state transitions in some format, and we're kind of like figuring out how to get the standardization in the format. There was one issue that Daniel brought up, which is how to deal with the service accounts and the aggregation and presentation in a way that's compatible with the Web3 Foundation vectors. And I guess that's a little bit unstable. I think we're waiting for Galici's final answer on all 4 pieces, but hopefully, I think Daniel, you took a stab at it, and we can try putting it in, taking a guess as to what is correct and publish that, starting with it. I think at least based on whatever Daniel has. And if you guys have feedback on that, on formats, hopefully we converge on that as well in parallel with the conformance of to a specific gray paper version. So yeah, so that's kind of one kind of piece. Michael on our team has also, if you look, has recently published fuzzing data, okay, which we just published yesterday. So it's fresh off. So which is a little bit different from the traces in that they are also including invalid state transitions, which are of course really important. So if you look in the same repo, I guess I could share my screen and do that. There's actually, what we've done is we've taken valid transition and fuzzed it so that various errors that are in the test vectors are all systematically produced. So, for every kind of STF, which has a set of invalid, like maybe there's 5 from Gleasy's data set and 17 from reports. The idea is that for every valid one, if you could fuzz it into one of these errors, you can generate a fuzz data set. And we've published the first version of what we think is the fuzzing data set. And what we've done is made it so that if you guys, all of you, generate valid state transitions, then in the same kind of format, then we can fuzz everybody's fuzz data set. For example, if Daniel provides Safrole data tomorrow or some other transfers or whatever data set, we can take that fuzzer and generate invalid state transitions, and that hopefully we think will make everybody's systems robust, and we would put that as everyone's valid state transition fuzzed into invalid state transitions, and we have like the set of errors out there. So I hope that we can get everybody to publish things in a kind of identical format, and we can debate the formats and get better at the service stuff, service details. And if you look at what we're doing, like Daniel's, I think, trying to get you have that in your group, and if other people do that, then we can all sort of validate each other's implementations, which is kind of what we're supposed to do for M1. That's it. That's it for us.
Thank you, Saurabh. We have more hands. The Oliver was first.
Yeah, cool. Thanks. Yeah, so Rob, definitely the test rep process very useful. Like I found like one bug in ours and then one in yours again, and then it goes around. Either it all works or one of them is wrong. That's very good. Yeah, for us, like with our limited capacity, it's also like once we are more confident, like once we can import your blocks, we would then also publish from ours. But yeah, currently I'm still in this iteration loop where I find something off, and then it wouldn't really make sense to already publish the blocks because I know they wouldn't import for you. Yeah, but once that's done, I mean, I want to have like the same folder structure and layout so that I can just swap some root path, and it would then run on some other team's folder structure. Yeah. Besides that, yeah, we also did some networking. We got a node from Boca, so that we can test some C128 and UP0. Yeah, but there's also something wrong with the block decoding, so that didn't quite work. Otherwise, yeah, we are like trying to get all of the 062 stuff in. I mean, we didn't really stay closely tracked in the past, so there are some things that are wrong now, but yeah, I think we kind of have it locked down. We have our proposer, like we just merged a few days ago, our block proposer, so that we can run a propose and import loop. Like, yeah, that will be helpful once we have like for doing internal testnet for M2. Yeah, that's the basic gestalt of it.
Thank you. The next one was Francisco.
Nice, thanks. I wanted to mention something very quick. I think after Gray Paper 1.0, Gab was already saying that for us at a 2.0 version, it would be like quantum resistance and maybe tweaks for the jam grid, but that's going to be years away. And then has anyone tried to build a service with Jam SDK, the one Gab shared, and managed to run them on their PVM implementation? because I tried with the like simplest service and it panicked, and then you can supposedly put logs on the Jam SDK, the Rust Jam SDK, but I don't know how to read those logs in the PVM implementation. Like, so I cannot debug the thing. So that was my question and what I ran into, because it would be very cool to start writing services with the Rust tooling. I've been manually writing an assembly script, and so I cannot decode the operands or anything.
I think Tomek just posted the answer.
Thanks.
The answer is the Gav's answer is create a new host function called info or something like that, and that helps. Did you try that and that didn't work, or?
No, nice. I got lost in the chat, but I thought it had to be another host function, but I didn't know it was 100. So
I'm not sure if it's 100 either, but you can probably
okay, but it's one.
find it there. Yeah, I remember that it's like some sort of a trace function. I think it takes like 5 arguments, but I don't remember the details. I just remember Gav mentioning that in one of the chats.
Nice. Awesome. There, Oliver shared the docs. Good. Now I can debug that and see what's coming in. Thanks.
We ended up using Polkatool instead of the Jam SDK because it just generates really tiny byte sequences. Like whatever we generate ends up be like 35K. So after I saw that, I was like, let me go back to Jan's Polkatool. That's just practical. And it's easier to step through, I think, for us.
So Polkatool can compile the same format?
Not that I'm aware of. No, I think they're totally different. So.
Oh, okay.
But I think what you mean is this. Sorry, is the spec tool, right? Where you like just assemble the simple assembler into PVM or a JSON file. No.
I mean,
Or you muted.
Oh, sorry. We have a couple of services that we've built, and I guess we can update our services directory with like our current Bootstrap service, and we have this Fib and Megatron or something like that, which we can put in our service directory. You can see how the services that we built with sort of the Jan method instead of the could be constructed, and then you can build these tinier services. And I think that'll be important for everyone doing some real refining and guaranteeing and so on. So I guess we haven't done an update for that in our Jam testnet repo. Maybe that'll help. But I think in the big picture, everyone will go down the Gem SDK because it's sort of user friendly, far better user friendly behavior. So I wouldn't go too deep into assuming that that's the way.
We have
Thanks.
Daniel raise his hand like a while ago.
Yeah, no, it was just to complete what Saurabh said. We published this week our blocks, even if they are not exactly the same format as the Gemduna team format in the terms of like the file organization and things like that. We will update it to match. But if anyone wants to look at the way they're not actually, they are block binaries, and the states following the same structure as the Web3 Foundation state representation, which is exactly the same as the Gemduna. It's just that the file organization is kind of different. If anyone wants to test on top of our blocks, we will keep upgrading it. And the way we decided to publish it was in a branch in our own repo. So I think it will be, maybe we can find a better way of publishing, but I shared the link in the Gem testnet group. Anyone can follow if they can reach out to me also to ask for it. But another thing that I wanted to just, something that came to my mind, and I think I'd like to share with you, is that how amazing it is what we are building, guys. Because I think never in the history of human life there was a software built the way we are building. And this is so incredible because we have a lot of teams working alone, standalone, building their stuff, and that now we are trying to coordinate and match with each other. I would say this will be the less buggy software ever, most secure and most perfect software, because it's an amazing process. So I just wanted to share this, that I really like the way we are doing stuff together, and everybody that is here is, for me, is I think it's a privilege to be here within this group with you.
Thank you, Daniel. We also hope so, and yeah, that's a great way how to build the open source. We have a Klesio raised his hand.
All right. Yeah. Hey guys. Yeah, my name is Klesio. I'm from ChainSafe. Yeah, I work with Prill and Jimmy, and I would like to share some updates on our trial to explore the SDK more like a Go SDK. We are doing some research, some feasibility research on like the possibility of compiling Go to PVM, and we are doing we are like studying and researching some paths. The first one was using LLVM. Unfortunately, as far as we found, Go does not have like great support for LLVM, even though there is a project called Go LLVM. Very obviously, very suggestive name. That's like guided and by Google. However, they don't have any releases and seems to be really like early stages, not well maintained. And then I just figured out that we can use like a native Go compiler to get like some RISC-V output, which is like the basis of PVM. And then after that, try to use PVM linker to generate, like to do the second linking step. And I was facing some problems, some errors with the ELF sections. So like the RISC-V binary, like the output of the Go native, like the Go native compiler gives me like some RISC-V ELF file, which then I tried to pass to the linker. But I noticed that there are sections that exist in this ELF file that are not supported by the linker. I think that those sections were included by the native Go compiler. And now, yeah, that's like the most the farthest I could reach. So I'm trying to like investigate a little bit more over the PVM linker to understand what sections I should what sections should we have into this ELF file, and I try to use, there is like a tool, the RISC-V there is like in the tool chain of the RISC-V, there is like a binary called object copy, which allows you to remove these sections that you don't want from any ELF file. I try to remove all the ones that are not like necessary. And even after that, I was having problems with some register called S11, which was present in my source code. And then, yeah, I was like the linker said that S11 was not supported. That was like, yeah, I stopped over there, and yeah, I needed to do other stuff, but that is like some updates over this like initiative of having some other, yeah, the feasibility of having like a Go SDK.
Thank you, Klesio. Thank you. Have hand raised by Jan.
Yeah, so regarding this compiling Go to PVM, first things first, you used the full 32 register target. So you need to, because there are like two variants of RISC-V. There's the standard one, which uses 32 registers, and there's 16 register version. which you need to use for the linker to be able to accept your code. So you were using the 32 register one. So that's why you were getting the S11 or whatever the register error, because that register doesn't exist in the 16 register variant. So both GCC and LVM support this 16 register RISC-V target. So you should be able to, any language that GCC and LLVM supports, you should be able to compile to PVM. However, this is not enough. Besides using the right target, you also need to emit some extra sections with some metadata related to the imports and exports. So, and how to do that is language specific. So like in my Polka VM repo, like obviously I have some code to do that for Rust, and I also have some code to do it for C. So the best way to, if you want to like support another language, the best way is to just look at that header file for C, because it's short and it shows you exactly which sections are necessary. Yeah, that's it.
Thanks. I was about to investigate the linker because I got the linker script for that my Go compiler was using, and they have all the sections that were not needed. And I was about like trying to remove that, like doing some tweaks with the linker, maybe. But yeah, thanks for the feedback. I didn't know about that 16 register thing. That's one thing I'm noting here to investigate about. And yeah, thanks for the help. And one last question with this regard, I have like the RISC-V Linux, and also there is the RISC-V unknown. There is differences of like which binary should we use, or because I needed to change the CC of Go to use like RISC-V64 Linux. That one worked because I think that it was able to find some other, like some header files that the unknown was not able to find. And my question was like, which one, or there's no difference?
I mean, those are called like target triplets, and essentially they define the target environment of where the binary will run, right? So technically you should probably use the unknown one, but it might also work with the Linux one. I mean, or you might have to add a new target. I mean, it depends on the language. Like for us, we have like a custom target, but that's like Rust C specific. So I mean, I have no idea how it works with Go. So unfortunately, I cannot really help you much. But then preferably the unknown should be used, because that's like, that doesn't assume that there's an OS, because the Linux one technically assumes that you're gonna run this on Linux, right? I mean, it might work in the end, but like, you know.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry, on that topic. So the standard Golang compiler, it's like a custom compiler. It's not LLVM or GCC or anything. They just roll their own thing. I think your best bet is to use a different, like not a standard Golang compiler. For example, for RISC-0, like I put the link in here, they just fork the compiler. Then they add some target for, I think, RV32E or something. But we probably like need a slightly different one depending on what extensions, like what RISC-V extensions we want. But yeah, I mean, I tried this out at some point and it was pretty painful. But I think like you would need to add a custom target to a custom compiler, since like the standard Golang compiler, it only really cares about the big targets. Like they optimize for that. Yeah, but I think you can also like check out other languages like Python. There's also some kind of embedded Python interpreter. But yeah, I mean, I think it would be cool to explore more languages. I at least put my like the C++ link in here as well in the chat. yeah, if you need some linker flags, but it's like only for LLVM and GCC. But yeah, I think it's a bit of a rabbit hole. Maybe it's too technical for this call.
Oh, true. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, one last thing is like, Jan, if do you mind if I like just like send message through Element just for like more this technical discussions that yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so I think I have your handle on that. Like, maybe I can ping you over there. Thanks.
We have Saurabh raised his hand a while ago.
Okay, it's great to have you join us. Jan, I think there's this scheduled talk that Gav mentioned you'd be able to give to all of us about how recompilation, how we should think about recompilation or how we can get started. And in some sense, I believe it invalidates all the stuff that we are trying to do with almost everything in
I mean, it doesn't really, because like no one sane writes a recompiler right off the bat. So I mean, even I would first write an interpreter first. So writing the interpreter is still useful because you can then also cross-check. Like in Polka VM, I have a special mode where I can run interpreter and the recompiler instruction by instruction and compare the result, right? So that's very nice. But yeah, so and like you don't really need the recompiler for the first milestone anyway. Like you really only need the recompiler for the third and fourth. I think. I mean the performance ones, like you won't be able to reach even half of the performance with a with an interpreter. So that will need like a working recompiler, right? So yeah, I mean, I can host such a talk. First, I would need to prepare it, right? So I mean, so I guess like the agenda would be like how to write baby's first recompiler. So go from the basics and then expand on how to make it fast. So something like that.
Is it possible for us to, supposing we followed your talk in a month or two, and then we sort of removed our interpreter and just went straight for the answer after having done the cross-check? Is that something we should do, or should we have like two modes, one with interpreter and another one with the recompilation? Like how should we do that?
It's up to you. I would keep the interpreter because it's easier to debug, but I mean, it's up to you if you want to remove it later. Sure, like I'm keeping the interpreter. I'm even keeping 32-bit support. So
okay, are you going to post a talk, or should we have you out at the ETH Lisbon event that I think Daniel is putting together as a sort of get together in person?
I mean, I don't know. I will probably host it online, but like maybe there's some in-person meeting, but. Well, scheduling wise, we will have to see. I mean, maybe I could host it like physically.
Yeah, it would be definitely nice to see you in Lisbon. Definitely would have a lot of questions. Thank you, everyone. Do you have anyone with other questions, or maybe sharing the status? Oh, I see a new hand. Gemzik.
Hey guys, I have a question actually, because I was wondering when is the date for the Lisbon event already set in stone?
Yes and no, actually. Yes, we have the week, but the exact dates we are still managing to book a place and things like that. But it will be right before Ethereum Lisbon. So Ethereum Lisbon is from May 9th to May 11th. So the idea was to make our event between 5 and 8 May, which could be 6 and 7, or 7 and 8, or 5 and 6 and 7. So this is more or less the date range that we are targeting. But the exact dates we still don't have. But I expect to have it by the end of this week because we can't wait anymore. More probably it will be a 2 days event focused only on this group of people, like Gem implementers together, working together for 2 days. And by the end of the second day, at the evening, we wanted to make a party and invite other crypto people to join the party in a bigger audience, like something around 100 to 150 people. And hopefully we wanted to have the 1.0 version released by then. I don't know if this is feasible, but it will be like the 1.0 release party or something close to this. Yeah, and the idea was also to have a tour to the Gem Toaster during these 2 days. I don't know exactly the logistics, but I'm coordinating with Gav's team to make it work for everyone. And yeah, so this is, and we are also thinking about rebranding the name of the event. I don't know what you think about it. Instead of calling it Gem Zero, we were thinking about calling it Gem Experience, to decouple the definition of the event from the SIP Zero or other events that we have in the Polkadot, because I think Gem is a big thing and we wanted to make a real experience for us and for other people that will join the Gem ecosystem like later. I don't know what you think about this.
It's a cool idea, definitely. As long as it's not Windows XP, right? Then it's big.
Yeah, Gem XP, no, Gem Experience.
How far is this the event location from the toaster? I have no idea.
Yeah, it's about 10 to 15 minutes. So the event from the toaster, it will be a 15 minutes ride, no more than that. We are planning to have a bus to take everybody together to the place instead of each one taking an Uber. Let's see how logistics works, but this is the plan. And yeah, we are trying to find a place that is a mix of Lisbon, Portuguese cultural stuff with a lot of art pieces and more traditional Portuguese stuff with some modern things, like more fancy, more technological, more modern. So we are going to mix the old tech with the new tech. So this is more or less what we are thinking. So probably the event, a smaller gathering between us, 30 to 40 people, will be in a hotel, and then the party will be in another place, but close to the hotel, probably walking distance, if not walking distance, 15 minutes, taking an Uber or something like that.
That sounds awesome. Thanks so much for doing this, Daniel. This is sweet. And I like the Gem experience. That sounds like a good time.
Yeah, so one idea that I had was to, because we're gonna have Ethereum Lisbon right after, my idea was that maybe we could swarm Ethereum Lisbon with Gem people and participate the Ethereum Lisbon hackathon with Gem stuff, like Gem services, ideas, or hacks on Gems or things like that. So imagine like 35 teams going to Ethereum Lisbon and presenting different solutions for Gem. And I'm planning to have a Polkadot booth or a Gem booth in the Ethereum Lisbon as well. So we can like be there, meet, and even pay some prizes for people that own the hackathon. The way, like usually when they do hackathons in Ethereum Lisbon, there are different brands paying specific prizes for people that create something specific for that technology. So the idea was to do the same with Gem or Polkadot, and not only go to Ethereum Lisbon, but also invite Ethereum Lisbon attendees to our event, to the party, to make this interconnection.
But I guess our first 2 days of the Gem experience pretty much would be the Gem hackathon, right? I remember in Bangkok we hacked a lot on the networking and other stuff. So
Yeah, so the first day will be like us together, like working within us without other people that are less familiar with Jam. And but the party, which will be less formal, maybe we can have a brief talk or something very, very high level, not detailed, or lightning talks or things like that we can have, but mostly it will be more like chilling and I don't know, maybe if Gav wants to play the DJ with us, we can do it as well. Why not? Or maybe another thing that I was thinking was create a real jam, like get some instruments like drums and bass and guitars, and we can like play together. It would be a nice idea also.
it would be awesome.
Let's be sure to have at least drinks. I love your party atmosphere. That's awesome. But we didn't have enough drinks last time, so we can at least get more alcohol in the whole affair. So I think Kirill sponsored the drinks in last night. But yeah, I think food and drink would be a good start. And I don't think a lot of us are music players. A lot of us just want to code, but that's awesome.
We can just drink and listen to the music, and code.
I think on a serious note, I think we probably have to do something before the event to make sure that when we get there and try to do all this networking stuff, that we can have compatible implementations in some sense. And I think the more, I don't see why we can't all publish our little quick connector with each other. We attempted to do so, and when at the Bangkok event, we had a couple of people trying to do so, but we didn't really have time. So it might be good to prepare a little bit and have some early attempts, kind of like whatever we're doing with the test vectors, so that when we get there, we're debugging the last few things and getting like a really Jam implementation connections for real that hopefully are able to validate each other is what we would hope. So I don't know how to work backwards from the event a little bit, but maybe point-to-point interactions, like your Rust is talking to my Go or Elixir and so forth. We need a strategy so that when we get there, we're not just partying. Is what I'm hoping for.
So Rob, maybe it makes sense for you or some other people who already, have the testnet nodes connected to have some kind of a workshop, basically what you did, how it works, and what everyone needs to be done before the event. So then on the event, we can all connect our nodes and work together. We can just basically do this on our next call in 1 month. So like March, whatever date it is. And then it will left people with like 2 more months at least to finish this. Okay, cool. So I will put this into the agenda for the next call. Thank you, Surab. And we have Oliver raise his hand.
Yeah. So on this point, I tried to set up, some local network with a Docker image from Brian that I got, and I think that's very helpful to try to get it set up locally, because when 2 people try to debug both their nodes and try to connect, then you have to tell the IP to the other person and so on. If I can just run a Docker command on my computer, I can iterate much quicker, and that was helpful. If any team that has public Docker images, if you make a list, if you have some central list of this, with maybe an example command, or we all conform to some standard command. I know that Surab had some stuff like this in the past in the testnet repo. I'm not sure if it's still there, but yeah, having a Docker image in advance of other teams is very helpful for network testing.
Can you take the lead, Oliver? Since you're managing the docs repo, to show us what you think would be reasonable between your and the Boca implementation, maybe, and then we can just add our conformant to that, whatever standard you come up between the 2 of you.
Yeah. So Brian has pretty good default command line flags there, and yeah, I conform to the same now. Yeah, I can set it up. Yeah, that's good.
Has anyone started open telemetry type problems? We just started this week finally. Just asking.
Idea is to have like this open standard, right, for everyone for the open telemetry. So, as I understand correctly.
Okay, I guess since if no one's started, we're going to just, after we complete our first refines, our 2 or 3 guarantors and blocks and all that, we're going to share our span, span tags, so that maybe we could talk about that in a couple months after some wiring up. But we're now at the point where we can't reason about the bugs on the 500th package or whatever without having this kind of basic telemetry stuff. So we're on that problem now.
I guess it makes sense to make the pull request to the Jamcha document, right? And then sharing this pull request so then we all can collaborate on your ideas. But yeah, it's definitely an important lead here. Thank you. All right. Do we have other topics? Do we have someone want to share the progress or ask questions? Great, guys. Then I believe we can wrap up the call.
Sorry. I thought you were going over the agenda doc. I put one comment in there. I have one more thing.
Ah, sorry. I probably haven't updated the page.
So I'm gonna share my screen for a second. So because of this matrix situation, I started to index all of the jam chat and the gray paper chat. I mean, I still want to have some kind of way to make it searchable, but I'm not really good at these things. So I just wanted to put it out as a possible idea, because this jam chat is like the matrix chat is like awkward to search in a browser. It doesn't search at all on a desktop. I mean, you probably all know the pain. So if you can have some way to get all of the messages. I'm not sure if it will work as a JSON now, but it's also supposed to work as JSON. Not quite. Yeah, if we can have a way to get all the messages and maybe have them searchable, then we can also, like use them further downstream in some pipeline to train some bot on it or whatever, or at least have a proper search function. I just mostly wanted to throw this out as an idea. Like, I mean, I can deploy some really bad version of that, but if someone with more UI experience wants to do that, I think it would be a good idea. Yeah, that's it, Tomek.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that we are indexing the gray paper channel as well, but we are only looking for links to the gray paper reader. And something that I want to do, I didn't have time to do it yet, is to, as you might have noticed, the latest version of the gray paper reader actually displays some of the older questions about particular parts of the document as like annotations on the PDF when you read it. And I would really like to do it in real time, but I didn't have time to like connect the two. But since we are already indexing that, I think it will be easy to add actually storing all of the messages and just building some kind of index as well, if that's what you guys need.
Yeah. Sometimes I just want to search for 1 or 2 words, and there's like impossible in the matrix chat. So I think it can be very helpful.
Can you, Tomek, maybe share the script?
Yeah, hold on. I will just find a repository.
Yeah, it would be great. It would be really useful. But how are you? You're only looking for like external links for your reader, or what exactly are you doing?
Yes. So I'm listening to each and every message, and then checking if there is a graypaper.fluffylabs.dev link there, and if there is, then I'm storing that message and then doing some sort of processing. Let me just send you a link.
Did you actually have some recent updates there? I believe maybe many people are not familiar with what you're doing with this gray paper reader. Maybe you will willing to do some small demo, like impromptu.
Yeah, sure.
I'm sorry for putting you on the spot. So
No worries.
feel free to reject.
No, let me just share my screen really quick. Okay, I hope you guys can see the tab. Yeah, so basically this is the line that is oh, sorry. This is the line that is relevant, so we are just looking if the message includes this graypaper.fluffylabs.dev link, and then we just store it in a JSON file. However, in the latest release of the reader, we've built something that is called remote notes. So here you can add your own source. We also have a separate repository which is public, which is called Graypaper Notes, and there's a bunch of JSON files there, which are these nodes that you can import here by default. So there's like a little bit complicated logic, like which nodes are displayed where. But for instance, like I'm trying to do, like, every time there is a new Graypaper release, I'm trying to go through the changes and then create a bunch of nodes that you see here. But these nodes are only displayed in version 0.6, 0, 1, and 2. And there is element activity, but there is like a manual step that we need to do now between these bots that I have just shown that collects the messages and these remote nodes that are published in the Graypaper Notes repository. However, if I enable this thing, you should be able to see, let me just disable this. You should be able to see, let's go to some 0.4. So here you can see that someone was asking a question on Element about this particular, oh, sorry, there's too many here. About this particular part, I need clarification on how is PageProof being used. And then this thing here is actually a link to that particular message on Element. So assuming that the matrix history works, that should point you to the relevant discussion that was happening. But as you can see, this was in version 0.4 of the Graypaper, so it might not be relevant anymore. And I don't have a way yet to figure out how, like, if that node is still relevant or no. We probably need to do it manually. So what I would really like to do is to automatically, every time there is a new message, it ends up in this Graypaper Notes repository, so that it's available for like immediately available here as a backlink to Element. Let me show you the Graypaper Notes repository as well. The format is basically the same format that we have for exported notes in the reader. But if we decide that we want to edit that manually, or if you guys want to add some stuff manually here, then I'm sure it should be pretty easy to create like a markdown to JSON converter or something, so that it's more human readable. And one more thing that I would like to show you is because you can load these remote nodes from any source, so it can be just like your own private source here. As you might see here, I have a link to TypeBerry nodes, and that thing is actually generated from the comments that we have in code in our implementation. And it's being automatically updated every time we push to GitHub master. There is another tool in the same repository that is able to scan the source code that you give it to and generate this notes format that can be imported here. So if you just make this notes public, and then you can see that, for instance, this particular part of the code is referenced in packages, block assurances, TypeScript file that we have here. I think that's something that was kind of requested by Oliver some time ago, and I think that it suits your case as well. So basically, Oliver wanted to see like how much coverage of the gray paper does his implementation have. So this is something that could work this way, basically by putting links to parts of the code and parts of the formulas. You could, and then generating these nodes, you could see which parts of the gray paper are covered or are not covered by your implementation.
Fantastic, thanks.
That's fantastic. Yeah, that's awesome work. Thank you.
So I just want to be clear. If something changed in, say, gray papers 0.6.3, it requires some of us to manually annotate the new things that happened in 6.3 to see what happens. There's no, it's not an automatic procedure, correct? Just want to make sure I understand that.
Yes, I mean, there are many ways to automate that. I also put a disclaimer there that this is not, you know, it shouldn't be considered as a kind of like definitive interpretation of a gray paper or the changes that happen to the gray paper. But I'm like, every time there is a new release, I'm going through the changes anyway, and then I figured, okay, I will put it on the like attach the changes and what was changed, not necessarily exactly what's the consequences of that change, but rather, hey, there was something changed here, so that later on I can, when I scroll through the gray paper, I can see, okay, that was recently changed, and maybe I need to update the code. And then we are sharing that as these remote nodes as well for you guys, but feel free to disable them, ignore them, or also like contribute if you find a mistake.
That's really awesome. I think it'll help all of us find the changes very easily in the PDF rather than reading LaTeX or whatnot. That's awesome.
There is a question from Daniel. How do you comment in your code and how to transform code to nodes? Let me quickly check if there is a README. I hope there is one in the tool that we have. Okay, that's the tool here. If you don't mind, I will share my screen as well again. So it's a node module. You can run it through npx. It's available on npm.js. It's Fluffy Labs linked check. And then you either list files here, or you can provide a pattern. So this could as well be in quotes, and then the pattern is resolved by the application itself, not by your shell, because we run into issues where if there's too many files, then your shell might refuse to run this command. So instead, we resolve the patterns internally, and then it's just going through the files, and wherever you have a link that starts with HTTPS gray paper Fluffy Labs dev, then it's going to detect that link. And recently, it even got a feature to migrate the links between versions, but like be cautious with that. I don't think it's like, we've run it once in our code base, and I think it's not really a good idea. I think it's better to do it manually, like if you review the changes and not just blindly update the selection to the latest version of the gray paper. Yeah, the flag is not documented. Apologies, but I will add it right after the call. There is an option called generate nodes, and then you just say what JSON file you want, and it's gonna generate nodes that you can either import in the gray paper reader using the import function, but then these nodes will become your local nodes, so you'll be able to edit them. Or you can put this JSON file somewhere on the internet and then use a public URL to add it as a remote nodes in in the reader.
That's awesome. Thank you, Tomek. Alrighty. We are done with our agenda. Anyone has any maybe last questions or something you want to share? Please come up. Great. Then thank you everyone for joining the call. That was really exciting. A lot of new information. We are all together building this great tool, as Daniel said. This great open source and a great way to collaborate together. And thank you everyone. And I will see you in 1 month on another call. And also I will see you on the channel. See you guys. Have a nice day.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks. See you. Bye.
Bye, guys.
See you.
See you all
Bye.
soon.
Thanks, you guys.